Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
Hello, welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. I'm Scott, once again joined by Rob. Hello, Rob.
How's it going, man?
All good, man. It's been an interesting evening so far. Obviously, we're doing this live, so thank you to everyone that tunes in live, and thank you to everyone that tunes in on demand. But we just got done actually doing a watch-along. So if you want to see our reactions to basically the Undertaker film as they happened, as we selected things, go back and check that out. It was a lot of fun. We basically chose what we would do as we went along, clicked it. People that were viewing with us doing the same, and those on demand hopefully will do the same as well. So if you haven't seen the film yet at all, I'd suggest going back and watching the watch along. You'll get some of our instant takes and reactions. But what we're going to do here is basically dissect it a little bit further. We won't go into spoilers. We won't ruin kind of the outcome that we got. We're already tempted about doing another watch along and doing it again because we want to see the other outcomes. But for this moment in time, we've only done it once, and we're going to give just our general thoughts, really, of what the experience was like and what we thought of some of the acting, what we think of the Undertaker being used like this as far as his character, how the New Day performed in it as well. So, first of all, I guess first impressions, Rob, did you enjoy it? How did you feel with the experience?
I really liked it. It was just saying, firstly, it's really weird doing a podcast review about a film or something without Tom being here. Like, I'm used to him being around. So I'm missing you, Tom.
I sure would love to hear that.
Yeah, of course you will. Just to overinflate his ego a little bit more. But yeah, no, it was, do you know what? They've kind of had a lot of these stuff on Netflix before. And I've never been a fan of, it's never been my type of thing. Then you said about the Undertaker one, you messaged me. I was like, all right, I'm intrigued.
Let's give it a go.
And I'm so glad I've done it because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm the same, man. Like, I really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say it was the highest quality. There were some really good things in it, special effects. Some of the acting was good, some of it was cheesy, but I think it's supposed to be. So, and I have quite a few opinions on the Undertaker as a character and what I think would be interesting to do anyway, which I'm sure we'll get into. But maybe I enjoyed it more because we did a little watch along, we did it live, it was fun. Like, it's exciting doing something like this together. I'm having a few beers. Rob can't because he's about to go to the gym, so I can see the envy in his eyes. But it's been a good experience. So again, if you haven't had the chance yet, please check out our watch along. It was good fun. But yeah, so maybe that kind of brings my opinion of it up higher, maybe the excitement factor for it. But hey, like you say, we thought day one, let's get this out, man. Let's see what an Undertaker movie would be like. And yeah, I've never done one of these interactive things before either. Like, I've done maybe on like websites and games and stuff like that where you could do this kind of thing, but never done the Netflix ones. And obviously WWE haven't done anything like this either. So got a bit of a hiccup going on there. So to summarize, really, it was basically the Undertaker is in a haunted mansion. The New Day show up because they won. And again, we won't go too far into spoilers, and we might not even know. Well, there's a lot of stuff I'm sure we don't know. We've only had one outcome. But like, the New Day show up and they want to combine the power of positivity with the power of the urn, I think it is. Interesting story. I think if anyone was used in this, it could only be the New Day, and I do think they performed very, very well. The Undertaker, and I said it on the watch along, he proper Undertakered it up, with his voice. He did the old kind of talking, really over the top. There's a lot of comparisons in it. We were making jokes about Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo and Saw. Like, they were the three films. If you want to know what this is like, it's if you combine Ghostbusters, Saw, Scooby-Doo, and the Backstreet's Back music video, combine those four things together with WWE, and this is what happens. But yeah, generally speaking, I really enjoyed it. Again, as an experience, I wouldn't say as a film, which I don't think you can really fairly rate it as a proper film because it's not. It was 31 minutes, you know, and it can change several times, and I'm sure we'll go back and do some more with it. But the experience, I guess, is what I'd kind of rate it on, and I'd say, yeah, overall a good experience.
Yeah, it was. I think if you're watching it on your own, I'm hoping that a lot of people that have watched either on demand. Since we're talking about people from like now it's in the past, but people that have watched us watch it and watch it with us. I hope they got the same experience we did because we were kind of communicating. I guess if you watched it on your own, I don't think the experience would be. I mean, it'd be great, but I don't think it'd be as good. It's one of those. If you watch it with a friend, you're communicating and talking about, oh, should we go this way or this way? It's
exactly that. Yeah, if you're with a friend watching it on Netflix, great. But if not, that's what the watch along is there for as well. You know, we're acting as that kind of third, fourth party or second, I don't know, whatever. We're acting as that friend. We want to be your friend. We hope you'll be ours and subscribe. But yeah, like I agree with you, man. I think watching it on my own, I might be like, that was interesting. But like, it was really good being with you, like, and us back and forth. What should we choose? What should we choose? You know, like, and laughing at the things together that we saw. Yeah. And I got, you know, I won't go too far into it, but yeah, there was a little bit of a scare early on from what we saw. Yeah. There was funny moments. And again, it's not too much of a spoiler, but I'll just say the funniest moment to me was probably Xavier Woods talking about his calves, trying to pick up Big E. That I think we probably laughed the most on that bit. Yeah, I guess, touching on that, New Day's kind of thing. Again, for me, like, this could have only been done with the New Day. If you're doing this kind of story, how do you feel with their performances? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if specific people, maybe if they'd turn it into if they'd have done this 5, 6, 7 years, like earlier, sooner is the right word, then they could have done it and turned it into a story of Taker passing the urn to Bray for their WrestleMania moment or after. That would have been a great segue. Obviously, we didn't get that, and we got New Day. And I think they, for what it is, and it's a WWE thing, they're not trained actors. They're wrestlers, athletes. You know, I always say wrestling is like Shakespeare with action.
That's a good one.
Oh, poetic. But yeah, man, like they were great. And I think the fact that they're friends and they've done sort of little things like this before with the Wyatt family when they've done the Wyatt compound match. They're kind of had experience doing that. So, but then for them, this is like a second nature, just messing around and stuff. So yeah, no, I don't.
They got natural chemistry together. Yeah. I mean, like at this moment in time as well, what is a bit strange about it is like Big E is the WWE champion. So yeah, it's a really strange time. You know, we're in the middle of the draft. They've been split on opposite shows again. But it's good to see them do stuff together. And I do think, like you, man, like, yeah, they might not be trained actors in the sense of like Hollywood and whatever else, but like, yeah, Shakespeare with action, as you call it, is a great analogy. And I think it is, I mean, there are so many people that act so well in wrestling that we've said over the years. Like Alexa Bliss at the moment, you know, her character, some people might not like certain parts of it, but she is an incredible actor. And yeah, I think there's just a lot in, and there's a lot to be said for that. And comedic acting, the New Day are great. They're up there with the best of them, especially within WWE. So yeah, and they got great chemistry together. Again, I think this was the best way to do it if you're going to do this kind of Undertaker movie. However, I gotta say, I would have liked to have seen a proper Undertaker movie. I'm talking hour and a half, feature length, not interactive. For what it was very fun. But when I first heard Undertaker movie, I thought, whoa, okay. Because this is a character that has so much history. And yes, it is tough. Like you say, even doing it a few years ago with Bray would have been different. Do you put it within wrestling? I felt, you know, Kane showed up to See No Evil stuff in character. You know what I mean? Like, it's strange. You know, Kane did the whole May 19th thing. We've talked about the past year, especially with all the strange goings on in the pandemic era, as they call it, of, you know, trash compactor scenes for the Street Profits. You know, like, there's been really weird stuff that it's like, is this part of the sports presentation of wrestling? Like, it's tough. And with this as well, I'd say, well, no, it's definitely not. Like, this is its own thing. But I do think with a Bray thing might have been muddy waters. So, and I think and it would have been more of a serious kind of scary thing than a jokey, scary thing like the Scooby-Doo kind of side of things. So maybe it wouldn't have worked in that sense. Like, although I'm like, yeah, I'd love to see a film with Taker, I think it might be really hard to pull off, especially at the moment. And would it take away? I think the best time to see Undertaker in a film would have been 1999, when Undertaker was, like, you know, like on his way just before the American Badass, but like at 98, maybe 97, 98. That kind of like, that's my favorite version of Phenom. I know like people really like the early stuff of the Purple Gloves. I do as well. I like all eras of Undertaker. The one I least like is WrestleMania 20 onwards. You know, even though I enjoyed a lot of those things, match-wise, HBK 25, WrestleMania 25, amazing, they're great moments. But for me, like the best looks about the Undertaker were pre that date, and all the spooky stuff. And yeah, they've done a lot of good things since. Where to Teddy, just like they did the Where to Stephanie. You know, like they rehashed that, but they've done some really cool things. But it's that original. I don't know if you've ever seen the sketches for the Undertaker. You know, when you see the concept art of the Undertaker, and he's supposed to be this, and he kind of touched on it. To be fair, the closest we've got is that 2/21/11, I think it was, when everyone thought Sting was coming in, but it was the Undertaker returning. Was those little vignettes were shot? Wow, they were shot so well. And like, yes, it's not my favorite version of Undertaker. Yes, it hyped up Sting accidentally, which didn't happen, and TNA jumped on top, which was strange. But there's the man himself. But yeah, to do like a film, I think would have been really tough. But to see that kind of, because he's supposed to be an Old West Undertaker, like literally. So I like the fact they used the morgue scene in this, and maybe it's too late to do it, and maybe like I don't want to get in territory of like, do you recast the Undertaker? Someone uses the Undertaker's character, you know, like a kind of a Tiger Mask type situation, you know what I mean? But not so much in wrestling, but in film, more like a Spider-Man situation, I guess, you know. But I don't know, like so maybe it can't happen the way I'd like it anyway. But I think I would have really liked to seen that early Western 1800s Undertaker film. Do you know what I mean? In the town and spooky and like a proper horror. I mean,
it could be done, I guess. I mean, I don't want to segue from this, but I mean, it's Chris Hemsworth is doing the Hulk Hogan biopic. So I guess if you get the right person, it could be done really, really well. But I think as long as you've got Taker around to be like, no, I wanted it like this, and it looks like that. But that old school early 90s, as you said, Purple Gloves and all that. I mean, that would have been real. It's something that they could probably do in future. I mean,
they could probably do it with Taker and just be like, he is the age he is. It's the end of his life. It would have to feel like in wrestling. Obviously, we know he's not really dead, right? Like he's not really a zombie Undertaker, right? But so maybe the time travel thing would be weird. But I'd be open to seeing Undertaker, Mark Calloway, playing the Undertaker as the age he is. What, in his 50s? I'd be happy seeing that as an older Undertaker story in the 1800s. Yeah, in a Western town, like in the Wild West or whatever it is. You know, I think I'd still be fine seeing that Taker playing that character, because it's the end of his. So instead of like, you kind of use the stories that happen in the wrestling ring, but you act like they were town stories. Like HBK came in and he was this guy. My brother Kane came in, but it wasn't a wrestling thing. It was just like, he has that backstory, but it's in a different universe, but it's the same stuff. Like how they did with Spider-Man, like or how they did with Batman. You know, like some films the Joker has this origin story, some films he has that, but they kind of mix them together. So I think it wouldn't be too hard to do. And I'd really like to see that. But for me, I am happy they're getting more out of the Undertaker character. I think this is close to, I think, what we were saying about the WrestleMania AJ Styles match, you know, like, what was it called? The Boneyard match, I felt like once that happened, that's a way to prolong his career. Keep doing Boneyard matches and things like that. I'd be happy to see that. This is that next level. But yeah, what about you? What other ways you want to see the Undertaker character stay alive?
I tell you what, so I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to like graphic novels and comic books and stuff. I know they've done Taker stuff before, but I would happily have what you've already said, but as a comic book and graphic novel first, because I think it's easier to write.
Especially the younger Taker, or
exactly.
Anime. Yeah, you can do the younger Taker backstory, weave it into the wrestling career.
and then you could finish off with that a big film at the end. You know,
that's
or even just do the film at the end and then bring out the graphic novel as a prequel. You know, it's something like that. But yeah, I mean, if they want to keep the legacy of the Undertaker alive, graphic novels, comic books, you know, movies, things like this, boneyard matches, I think it's the safest way. It's the easiest way to go.
Yeah,
because it's marketable and everyone was interested.
For me, it's a no-brainer, man.
And it's safer, I think, for Mark Calloway himself.
Yeah.
You know, he's had so many surgeries. I think he's 30 odd years in the business. I think he's allowed to retire. However, if he wants to continue wrestling or whatever it is he's doing, this is the safest way. He gets to still be the Undertaker. We get to see him still be Undertaker, but it's in a safe environment where he's not going to endanger himself.
And I think some people might look at it as like, oh, you're milking the character. Like, I reckon some people look at this as like, oh, it's quite cheesy. This film's been cheesy or whatever else. But for me, it's like, come on, let's be real, man. I just want to see more Undertaker. I don't think it devalues it that much. I mean, there's a risk they could do that. At the moment, though, I feel positive about it. I do feel like they could just carry on doing this, like say, graphic novels, a feature-length film with a different universes of the Undertaker would be fine. And I think we've said the same thing about like his go back and check our Survivor Series review on the main Rebellious Noise channel. We weren't very happy with the way Undertaker went out with that official goodbye 30-year ceremony. It wasn't good. And I think he could always come back, even in WWE, just come back and chokeslam someone. He doesn't have to have a match. So there's a lot you can do with the Undertaker, like you say, to keep him healthy, to keep him safe. And I think his character transcends wrestling. Like, yes, everyone knows him because of wrestling. But it's not the sports side of the wrestling. That's not got, let's be real here. Yes, he's got the MMA style in his later years. Yes, he's an amazing athlete. Don't get me wrong. Like to see him leap over the top rope, even back in the Attitude Era, was like incredible. But his character is, and a lot of people say it's the greatest wrestling character of all time, up for debate, but like definitely up there. So, and the Kane stuff, like a graphic novel of him and Kane, like, and I think that's a great idea. Start off as a graphic novel or even an animated series of The Undertaker. Do your live action of him later in the years, like how they're talking about doing Michael Keaton as Batman, as older Batman. Do you know what I mean? Like you go back and do that, even though you've got Batman over here in this universe and another version of Batman over here as well. So I really do hope they do more with The Undertaker. Again, maybe in 5 years' time, I'll look back and go, they milked that a bit.
We'll just come back to this and go, oh no, but we wanted it.
We wanted it. Yeah, we wanted it. But yeah, again, touching on the film a little bit more, generally speaking, I enjoyed it. I like the aspect of getting to choose something. I was worried on the watch along that doing it live and having like, you've got to choose really quick might kind of be difficult, but it added to the suspense for me. Like you have to pick something. We've touched on New Day and the Undertaker's performances in general, but like, what did you think of the story? I guess we won't go too far into again what exactly our ending was, and I don't know how many endings there are. Like we're doing this on the day it came out. There might be about 10 endings. There might be a lot of different scenarios, but I'd be interested to find out. But what do you think of that?
Do you know what, the story itself, as we've said, basically them going to get the urn to add their power of positivity to Taker's power, is something. It's very weird. I mean, it's a weird story. However, again, if they were to transcend it back over into WWE, I think if Big E wasn't a champion at the time, obviously not to date this, but if it wasn't champion, then I think if they could get the urn and it could transcend over, then there's something they could, as New Day, could actually use.
They could have had a good story
into actually a storyline for WWE, and it has that potential to do that. But it's one of those struck while iron hot. It would have to be recent or coming up. But for the story itself, being like an independent kind of thing, it was weird, but I enjoyed it. I looked on the intro, any like WWE productions or anything like that, which was really weird because normally their logo's plastered somewhere right at
you're right, there was nothing, was there? It was just literally it was about Netflix, wasn't it? The first thing you see was I don't remember seeing anything WWE related, especially not that little thing you get in the corner when the show finishes.
Exactly. So that was quite surprising, bearing in mind WWE films, when that was a thing, would always come up, like even for 12 rounds and whatever it is now.
I can't say, mate. Didn't really see many of them.
No, oh, right. Just
I don't
me then,
think
yeah.
I saw a single WWE. I saw the Scooby Doo thing they did.
And that was banging, you know. I like them. They were pretty good. You should watch them. WrestleMania. I think it's WrestleMania in the Flintstones.
No, I didn't watch that one. No.
Watch it. It's great. It's
okay,
great.
All right. Yeah, maybe we'll do a watch along.
Maybe we could do that watch along on here and do a review on it. That'd be all right.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, no, I really like the story. It's interesting to see, without spoiling it, you get the option, especially because there's 3 of them. There's an option for each person, so you can go upstairs or downstairs or follow this. And then when it says face fear, which is a generic
and decisions within each other as well, yeah. So and a good thing is when you make the mistake of clicking the thing that you're not supposed to, it gives you basically towards the end, you got the option to go back and then finish the story. Not they don't always get that. It's kind of like an extra life in a game, I guess. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I really liked it though. What about you?
Yeah, same. And I think you're right on and spot on. With the fact that they've used all 3 members of the New Day, and you got options there, you got options with individually. Again, I'd love to see what else you can do. And if people want to see us react to more, please let us know. If things work out, it'd be good if we could do another watch along and choose different things. Try and remember what we chose the first time around. Because I am now interested. I want to see the different scenarios. It'll be interesting again when the next few days, when more people have watched it, to find out how many definitive ancient exits you can have to the whole thing, because can you have is there only 4 definitive routes, or are there 4 endings but 16 different bits in the middle? So
yeah,
because some of those scenes, it did feel there was a point where one of the characters say, oh yeah, that's what I saw XYZ up here or whatever, and it was so you're just telling us that. I bet if we clicked you, we would have seen that.
And then you still would have seen it.
Exactly. And in our version, another character says, this is what happened. I saw this. And we're yeah, because we saw it. But then would the people that clicked the other one have gone, oh, we didn't see that, but he's telling us, so I guess it did happen. I think there are a few, depending on what you click, there were a few kind of loose ends. Actually, there was a massive loose end, which I won't say. But if you go back on a watch along, you'll see exactly what I mean. I don't know if, Rob, you're clicking with me here, but it was something that looked like it was going to happen, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. Yeah, a bit strange. There was a few things like that, and maybe if you watch a different version, they will. So that is where these things can fall a bit flat on their face. Again, I'm not massively used to these kind of interactive kind of movies or anything like that. And like you say, you're the same, Rob. But what we got, yeah, I don't think you can feel hard done by after 31 minutes ago. Well, I didn't get that tied up. Do you know what I mean? It's not a proper movie, is it? It's just a bit of fun. And for that, yeah.
I mean, if you're hard done by the fact that you didn't get a great ending, remember this is a WWE show. So...
Oh, shots fired!
However,
hey, keep it quiet, mate. Again, I've got a lot of the stuff from the show we went to the other day, mate. They're keeping us well.
Hey, I'm masked, mate. They don't know me. But yeah, I mean, from that point, as you said, a little shot fire.
Yeah.
However, it does make me want to go back and think, okay, I didn't click Kofi this time. So what happens when I click Kofi? Did they get a specific thing for this and things like that without kind of giving you a spoiler? But the presentation, and I love the fact that Taker is narrating at the beginning and kind of narrating the story.
Yeah,
even though he's the bad guy kind of thing.
I didn't like the whole, and again, I mentioned it on the watch along, but the introduction of Taker was a bit okay, wrestling universe, mixing it in, but then doing it with a New Day, it was okay, it's really makes no sense. We don't need a backstory to the New Day. We don't need to see them as wrestlers. I didn't really make sense. Taker, it kind of helped because it was showing how dominant he was and scary. But even with Taker, to be fair, you could use a lot of clips where he's not necessarily in a wrestling ring. It could have been him sitting up in a coffin and him doing lightning bolts and whatever else. We could have seen that. Yes, you need some aggressive stuff, but you could have seen buried alive matches. You didn't have to see him in the ring. So for me, that takes away a little bit. Because again, ironically, when we're talking wrestling, I'm this has to be a sports presentation. This wasn't. So putting the sports presentation in there really threw it off of me, and especially with the New Day.
Yeah, because we've said about this a lot, and especially on pay-per-views, especially in the pandemic era, where we could have this moment where Bray was 1 minute. It's a perfect example with The Fiend and John Cena, where Cena was looking at The Fiend in one place, and all of a sudden The Fiend is behind them, and they could do that with them cuts because there was no one around. This is the perfect opportunity to do all this stuff without fans and make it over the top and crazy. And they did hit the mark well with it. But I think the little things that they done, the little subtle things with the CGI, and again, without spoiling it,
CGI was very good.
Thunderbolts and specific colors appearing and all the effects, you can tell that they went to great lengths to really make it something special for the Undertaker.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder what he thinks about the whole thing, because you look at him with his opinion on the Last Ride documentary, talking about certain matches and how he kind of felt, it didn't kind of satisfy him, and then other things that he felt they did, like the Boneyard and whatever. So it'd be interesting to see his opinion on it and the New Day's opinion on it. I guess maybe a few years' time is probably when you're more likely to hear the truth. But yeah, I almost feel like this could have been a series. But then again, there's certain. Do we need to put other wrestlers in it? But then I think AJ comes to my mind, just purely how he was in that Boneyard match, So yeah, I'm kind of torn. Do I want more things like the Boneyard match, or want more things like this? But then, hey, let's be greedy. Let's ask from both. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind. And it is a different universe. I'm happy to separate those things together from each other. And then again, that going down that route, like we mentioned earlier, of like graphic novels and actual feature-length movies would be really good as well. Okay, before we get out of it, Rob, is there anything else you want to mention about the film or about the experience?
No, it was a fun experience. I definitely think, though, that we need to go through it either together, actually sitting together, or again like this. But we need to finish it off because
it was unfinished business.
Without spoiling it, we've got. We may have rested in peace, but we have unfinished business, man. I need to know what happens.
But then we're not in peace, are we? What are you talking about? We're in the exact opposite.
We're resting, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think you're right. It'd be good to go back and do it again. Hopefully, the people want to see it. Please subscribe. Let us know if you do. It'd be great. We'll be happy to do it again if the planets align, as they say, and we do get the right time to do it. And people and the need is there and the want is there, then I think but me and Rob would be happy to do this again and kind of do an alternative kind of ending or scenario and just explore what else can come off this thing, because it feels weird to review it only having seen one side, because we might look back on this in a few weeks' time and go, well, you basically saw everything anyway, or we might go, well, there was so much more we could have seen, so it's interesting. But like, in general, we can only say from this one thing, and I think most people might only see the one thing as well, because they might think, I don't want to go for another 31 minutes, but generally speaking, I had a good time.
Yeah, and technically, we've only done 1/3 of what's happened, because there's 3 members of the New Day.
Yeah, and then within that, it could split as well. But maybe it don't.
Exactly.
Maybe we're giving them too much credit. Who knows?
I guess, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if we do get time, if people are interested, we'll make time. So please let us know. And again, let us know in the comments what you think as well. If you've enjoyed, our presentations here, this one and the watch along, and also the show itself. So let us know what you thought of the actual movie. I say show, it's like we're talking about wrestling events all of a sudden. Speaking of which, we do cover wrestling events. This is the RN Pro Wrestling channel. We do recap and reviews of events. We do predictions and previews as well. And we also do build-up shows, which are really fun on the night, where we basically sort of like a pre-show companion. We talk about what matches we're excited to see, updated predictions and things like that. And there's a lot more in this channel as well, a lot of weird and creative stuff, I guess you could say, like the Seth Rollins suit video, other reviews, and we'll be doing a lot more of that coming up as well. And if you like stuff like this, and you got if you want us to do the Flintstones Simpsons, Simpsons, we could do the Bret Hart episode of the Simpsons, who knows? If you want us to do more wrestling crossovers, I could say, then let us know. We'll be happy to give that a go as well. But yeah, for now, I've been Scott. Our favorite resident luchador over here has been Rob, and we will see you in the next one. Please subscribe and check out more Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year. as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.